Hello,
Hi.
Steve Moore. Hi.
Is now joining.
Hi, Steve. This is Joe Hoft.
Hi, Joe. How are you doing?
Very good. Not sure if you remember me. We met at the airport in St. Louis.
I remember, sure.
Yeah, great. Nice to hear from you again.
It was a great conference. It was a lot of fun.
Wasn't that great? We had a really good time. Yeah, and it was a thrill meeting you. So, anyways, I want to mention.
Yeah,
So we
it
got
was a lot of
about.
fun. I'm glad I was able to make it.
Oh yeah, your talk was fantastic. I don't know if you know, we've got a
Thank you.
Yeah, we got a video of that, and we put it up a week or so ago of your talk. So we've got that. We can put that up again, with comments from our discussion today, and it was really good.
Fantastic.
It was really good. I really enjoyed a number of the speakers, but you were one of the highlights. And,
Thank you.
yeah, really, just great. You did a great job. You made the numbers fun, and it was a great talk, and it's a great success story. So I really loved it. So we've got I guess we've lined up about 15 minutes today. I wanted to mention something. If you don't mind, I'm going to tape this so I can take pieces from our discussion, maybe to put them in a post, and we'll also promote your book in this post as well. So, and anyways,
All right.
yeah. So we only have a little bit of time here. I wanted to basically just maybe ask you, what are the things that you want to highlight for us from your book, and maybe we should just start with that. Why don't you mention a couple items that you'd really like to highlight?
Oh, all the stuff on the trade and the taxes and the regulation, the whole litany stuff. That would be good. And what's Trump like and that kind of stuff.
Yeah. So, anything in particular that you'd like to share?
Oh, anything about the trade, or any of the, anything you want to talk about Trump would be fine.
Okay.
From the book, and how he came across these ideas, why the economy is doing so well, all that stuff.
Yeah. How about your thoughts about what's going on right now with the economy and the stock market the last week or two?
Sure. Yep.
Yeah. So what do you think with that, Steve? Why don't you go ahead and share?
You mean on the stock market, or?
Yeah, on the stock market. What's going on there, and is there any concerns? What do you think's causing
Well,
it?
it's certainly been a bearish market for the last couple of weeks. It's getting frightening. The market's dropped a lot. We're now into a correction phase with these big losses, and I think that it's a multitude of factors. I think the Fed raising rates certainly took some of the steam out of the stock market, and then some of these tariffs that Trump wants to impose has I think hurt production, especially the steel tariffs, which have been counterproductive. But look, my overall view of things is that the stock market is. Earnings are very good for American companies. They're doing really well. I think that stocks are underpriced right now. We're going to see a big rally as this economic expansion continues, and there's no saying buy low, sell high, and we need to buy. People need to panic selling. Now is a good time to be buying and holding, especially if you're going to hold on to stocks for 5 or 10 years.
Yeah, absolutely. I was Jim and I have written about the Fed. It just seems like every time that this stock market goes on a rally, the Fed announces another interest rate hike, and it's like kills the rally. So, any more concerns with the Fed?
Look, I want the prices to be stable, and I'm not a Fed basher, but I think there's no real evidence that the interest rates are too low. The inflation rate is very tame, and the price of commodities have been stable. So I don't see a overriding case for raising rates. I think Trump has a point there.
Yeah. Did you think he was out of line by saying the Fed's gone crazy?
No, I thought he was not out of the line. I think the Fed is independent and it should be independent, but there's nothing wrong with the president criticizing when he thinks they get it wrong. And, pretty clearly, they did get it wrong because the stock market had a 1,000-point sell-off,
Yeah.
after it raised rates.
Yeah, I agree. I totally agree. I totally agree. So, what about the one thing that I really enjoyed when you shared in St. Louis was a couple of your stories, especially the one about how you kind of met Trump and some of your thoughts on how he, just some of these stories really about sitting there. I guess you mentioned the day that McConnell came in and said, "Well, the best, sir, that we can do is 20% on the corporate tax break," and he said, "I'll take it." And I just thought that was just such a great story. Is there any other stories you have like that you'd like to share? Anything recent?
Well, just that Trump always seems to be upbeat about things, and no matter how much he gets beaten up by the press, he's always very full of optimism. He reminds me of Reagan that way. He has he just believes in the American spirit and the American worker and American companies, and he thinks that if you just get government out of the way, that the economy will flourish. And he's right about that. So he always seemed to be. He'd always say, "We're going to get 5% growth or something like that," and we thought, "Oh, that's a stretch," but we've already got 4% growth, and it's only been 2 years, so I think he's doing great on that score.
Yeah, I agree. What are your thoughts on this quarter's growth? Where do you think it's going to end up now in the fourth quarter? You think it'll be above 3?
Oh, it's hard to tell because the fourth quarter just began, but I expect we're going to be around 3%, and that'll give us a full year of about 3.5% growth, and that's way above anything we had in 8 years under Obama. So it didn't take long for Trump to fix the economy, and I think this is sustainable. I think we can stay on this 3.5% to 4% growth path for the next few years, and if that happens, Trump will be overwhelmingly reelected. He'll win 40 states.
Wow. That's just exciting. That's excellent. What about the odds of a new tax, middle class tax break? What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, well, that's been the tax bill was certainly the new tax reform has been a gigantic success. The liberals have typecast it as some kind of tax cut for the the rich, but it's actually benefited middle class people, and they're the ones who've seen the big gains. And we saw the big increase in consumer spending last month, and that was clearly a result of people feeling better about their personal finances, having more money in their pockets, and that kind of thing. So I think there's a lot of optimism out there that people can feel, and that kind of confidence and optimism, both on the side of the business and the workers, is what has helped propel the animal spirits of this economy.
Wow. What are your or do you have thoughts on the election coming up? Do you think the Senate or on the Senate or the House? Any thoughts, or do you prefer not to say?
Oh, I think that it's hard to say. I mean, I don't really have any predictive powers on that, but I think that the important election is the 2020 election, not the 2018 election, and I think people realize that when you've got a president who's taking on the entire swamp of Washington, that's a tough task, and he's made a lot of enemies by doing that, but those are the right enemies to have. I mean, drain the swamp was one of the biggest selling points of Trump's agenda, and it really shows that people feel like Washington's getting rich at the expense of everyone else.
That is so. I'm just so great that I'm hearing that. When we look back at the before the last election, and the cheers and the chants, I guess is what we call them at the Trump rallies, there was like a couple that were related to the swamp, really related to justice, I think, and it was the drain the swamp. People would cheer, and then they'd also cheer lock her up, and it looks like when Trump came in, there was a strategy by the deep state to get him, to prevent him from doing that. And do you think he's going to get, and this is maybe off base with the economy, do you think he's going to get some of that stuff addressed?
Well, look, I mean, this president who doesn't really care what the media says about him, this is a president who believes that, if you just unleash the power of the private sector and private businesses and workers, they will, perform and they will outcompete. And by the way, to create a level playing field, with other countries, that's what he means for on trade. He thinks the United States, we can dominate every industry. We have the best workers, the most productive and innovative entrepreneurs. And so that's what America First is all about, is just making sure that all of these decisions we make on our economy are really in the interest of, Americans and not necessarily what's in the interest of other countries. And, that certainly annoys people who believe in this new international order. But, I think Americans do believe the president should put America first. Of course he should. He's the CEO of our economy.
God, that's so true. Well, any last remarks that you'd like to share? Anything that's you think would be?
Well, it was just the book is not, people say, oh well, this book is about economics since it's titled Trumponomics, but the truth is it's really a story about Trump and how we really turned around the economy, and it's a first-hand account of all the meetings we had with Trump and how he made believers out of us. That's the amazing thing. I'm a usual big optimist, but he's more optimistic than I am. And so, it's a fun read. If you want to understand how Trump did it, how Trump, was able to succeed where so many other presidents have failed in terms of rejuvenating our economy, this really explains firsthand how the decisions were made, how they were executed, how he came across these ideas, and how they succeeded. And it's just an amazing story of being relentless. Trump is one of the most relentless people I've ever met. He never stops. He is inexhaustible. And we got somebody working for us who works 20 hours a day, 7 days a week.
Wow. And that's what it appears. Yeah, you see tweets coming out any time of day or night, and it's awesome. We're just obviously huge fans of Trump. We got on the Trump bandwagon early on, and really are so grateful that we did. We saw there was something special here, just like half of America.
It was a real privilege to work for Trump, and it's been an amazing ride. And it ain't done yet. As Trump said to me the other day when I saw him at the Rose Garden in the White House, he said, Steve, you ain't seen nothing yet. So we're just getting going. People say, oh, this can't continue. All the people who said we couldn't grow the economy at 3.5%, 4% in the first place are now saying, well, it's not going to continue. Well, they've been discredited. And, my point is never second guess Donald Trump. Never, you can bet against him, but, if you bet against him, you're going to lose a lot.
Isn't that true? And when during the election and during those primaries,
he's always proven his critics wrong. Whether it's they said he couldn't win, they said he couldn't restore growth, they said he couldn't bring back manufacturing jobs, they said he couldn't rebuild our mining industry, they said he couldn't pull us out of the this idiotic anti-American Paris Climate Accord.
Yeah.
All these things that he said he couldn't do. He said, oh, you'll never get the Europeans to pay more for NATO. Well, they are. They're doing it.
Yeah.
So he's a can-do kind of guy, and it's about time we had one in the White House. So thanks very much for having me. It was great seeing you in St. Louis, and I appreciate your helping me on the book Trumponomics, which, by the way, was written also by Art Laffer, who's one of the godfathers of supply-side economics.
Wow. Well, thank you so much, Steve. It's just an honor to chat again and to talk again.
Okay.
Appreciate all you do.
See you soon.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
All right.